On this week's episode, we're talking hitmen and high school reunions. I'm Scott.
And I'm Jason, and this is the Friday Night Rewind. On today's episode, we're going to rewind Grosse Pointe Blank. Grosse Pointe Blank came out April 11th, 1997. My senior year of high school. This is the second 1997 film that we've done. Scott, go ahead and tell us a little bit, though, about the box office.
All right, box office for this film, they did 31 million, adjusted for inflation. That's about 64.7 million today, on a budget of 15 million. Again, adjusted for inflation, about 31.3 million. So doubled their money, but I wouldn't call it a great massive hit or anything like that. But certainly anytime you can double your budget, probably not a terrible thing. Tell us about the Rotten Tomatoes and the IMDb score. How did this film do?
Yeah, definitely found its place in the hearts of viewers, if not necessarily the wallets right off the bat. Rotten Tomatoes, 82%. IMDb, 7.3. I think just like every movie we've done so far, we're in the sevens on IMDb. So my conspiracy theory about the sevens. It's ringing true.
Interesting.
So a little bit about Grosse Pointe Blank, though. We follow Martin Blank, 80s everyman John Cusack, as a disillusioned, high-end professional assassin experiencing an existential crisis. To find meaning in Dodge rival hitman, he travels to his Michigan hometown for his 10-year high school reunion, which, side note, did this make you feel old? Because it certainly made me feel old. I remember watching this movie when it came out and being like, "Oh, a 10-year high school reunion. That's an older person thing." And
that's a long ways in the distance.
Yeah, our 10-year high school reunion was we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of our 10-year high school reunion. Anyways, moving right along. So he's going to his 10-year high school reunion where he reconnects with his abandoned high school sweetheart, played by America's sweetheart of the time, the British Minnie Driver, playing Debbie.
Absolutely.
What a doll. Yeah. Just adorable. Absolutely adorable, right? Let's go ahead, though, and get into the meat and potatoes here. Tell us a little about the director, writer, producer, cinematographer, score, all the things.
All right, let's see. Let's get into the director, George Armitage. He did a film called Hitman in 1972. I never saw that. And then he did Miami Blues in 1990. I'm a big fan of Miami Blues. Alec Baldwin. It's like an unhinged weirdo kind of, I don't even know how to classify it, but it's a film I always enjoyed.
I remember one thing about Miami Blues, and it was a thing from the trailer. And the one scene in the movie that stands out to me is he breaks the hand of a Hare Krishna in an airport. It's like that's the one moment of that film that I remember. Like the 80s, there was so much about Hare Krishnas and how annoying they were in the airports.
And anyone that has ever had their door knocked on gave a great big cheer.
That's right.
After this film, sorry, go ahead.
No, go. I was going to say, let's get back to it. What else did you do?
After this film, he did The Big Bounce in 2004, but really not much after that. I'll jump right into the writers. Yeah. The writers on this one, this was definitely an ensemble from a writing perspective. Tom Janikowski, it was his original idea. There's another gentleman named Steve Pink. He had some small acting credits, and then he actually wrote Night and Day and directed Hot Tub Time Machine. Another gentleman named D.V. DeVincentis, and apparently like all these guys were friends with John Cusack in high school. John Cusack was also one of the writers on this film. He had never written a film before. After this, he tackled the adaptation of High Fidelity. So this definitely seemed like he was getting all the buddies from high school together to try to put a concept together, and did a really good job. Let's move right into cinematographer. We got Jamie Anderson. Prior to this film, he did Piranha in 1978, What's Love Got to Do with It in 93, The Juror in 96. After this film, he did The Octocouple 2 in 97, Small Soldiers in 98, The Gift in 2000.
I love The Gift.
I do too. I did too. Phenomenal movie, probably way underrated.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi, right?
Yep.
I believe, yeah.
Yes.
And then Bad Santa in 2003. I am jealous that you are going to be talking about my favorite section of today's pod. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about what's going on with the music and the
Yeah.
score and the soundtrack? Start us off.
I mean, this is one of those films that like we're here talking about Grosse Pointe Blank because of the soundtrack. The score was done by a little known British musician by the name of Joe Strummer. He was the co-founder, lead vocalist, rhythm guitarist, and primary lyricist for The Clash. Most influential, one of the two or three most influential punk rock bands of all time. The Clash is obviously, if you grew up in like a certain era, The Clash was one of your favorite bands, and Joe Strummer is one of
Legend.
your music gods. Yeah, absolutely legend.
Absolute legend.
So yeah, and so he did the score for this film, and I'm sure it had something to do with putting together the soundtrack. The soundtrack was just like this eclectic hit, one after the other. And I hadn't seen this movie in like, 20 years, close to 20 years, I think it had been since I had seen this movie. And like the soundtrack, though, I remembered every single needle drop in this. Like every single time there was like a scene that was gonna, like every time I knew like a beat before every song started. I was just like, oh yeah, here we go. We're getting into it. Blister in the Sun by Violent Femmes, Rudy Can't Fail and Armageddon Time by The Clash, Mirror in the Bathroom, English Beat, Under Pressure, David Bowie, I Can See Clearly Now, Johnny Nash, Live and Let Die, Guns N' Roses, We Care a Lot by Faith No More, Pressure
One of my
Drop,
favorites.
The Specials, Absolute Beginners, The Jam, Let My Love Open the Door, by Pete Townsend. Like just every song in the movie, like it just all of the music goes with each scene like so perfectly. It's really just like if you're a member of Generation X or an elder millennial, like watching this movie and hearing these songs will like take you back to a very, very formative time of your life. So
I remember driving down the highway and, opening the disc book up to pick out what I was going to listen to on a 2 or 3 hour drive up in the New England area. And inevitably I would put on the soundtrack to Grosse Pointe Blank. And you just hear that, if you weren't familiar with the English Beat or Faith No More or the Specials, I mean, it really just gave you an outlet where it put a bunch of awesome tunes together. And, you could go out and explore those artists if you had never heard of them before. Rudy Can't Fail, Pressure Drop by the Specials, like two of my absolute, just favorite tunes during those times. Mirror in the Bathroom.
Same.
What a classic.
Yeah.
I mean, and I rewatch this film somewhat regularly. And same with you. When I know a song's about to come on, man, I can hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know when we're about to get that tune that I love. And it's just such a great soundtrack. Really encourage everyone to check it out because it's just hit after hit after hit after hit.
Banger after banger after
Let's go ahead and talk about some of
banger.
the actors that are in this film. I'll let you start us off.
Yeah, John Cusack. As I mentioned earlier, he was like just the 80s everyman. John Cusack was just like, if you think of small town American white hetero cis boy from the 80s, that's John Cusack. Just very likable. 16 Candles, Better Off Dead, One Crazy Summer. Basically the same character in all of those movies. Am I lying? I don't think so.
Yeah. No.
Stand By Me.
Wild.
Yeah. 8 Men Out, Say Anything, and The Grifters. Like just an incredible resume between 84 and 90. And then he kind of like went away for a little while. Like this movie was part of his big comeback. Like he had kind of this like 7-year absence where I'm sure he did like some things, but nothing that we're mentioning. So he did those huge things in the 80s, and then he kind of vanished for like a few years. Then he came back, and he was in this, Con Air, Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, Pushing Tin, Being John Malkovich, High Fidelity, Hot Tub Time Machine. So it was like another golden age of John Cusack's career just following this movie. Tell us about the lovely Minnie Driver.
God, she's so great in this, isn't she? She had done prior to this Circle of Friends in 95, Golden Eye again in 95, Sleepers in 95, which I feel like we've mentioned before on maybe one of the other podcasts, but really good movie, tough material, but really good book as well. And then she was in U-Turn in 97. I would say she was right on that precipice of like that major breakout. And right after this, Good Will Hunting came out. Obviously, that catapulted her into the stratosphere. And just, you know, and then it sort of dwindled. So Princess Mononoke, Tarzan, some voice work there, some television, more films, but probably nothing as big as or as poignant as Grosse Pointe Blank and Good Will Hunting. But such a great actress, so fun to watch. Tell us about the next one.
Yeah. So Alan Arkin. I was in Vegas with a group of friends of mine, and they're friends with Alan Arkin's granddaughter, Molly Arkin. And I debated whether or not to talk about this on air. I don't know her that well, but I got to have a really, really cool conversation with her about her grandfather and how she was like watching after he died. She like went back and watched like all of his films that like she hadn't seen. And I was like talking to her about how much I loved him, and because he's fucking awesome, Alan Arkin.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, just a Hollywood legend. Prior to this film, he was in Catch 22 in 1970, Edward Scissorhands in 1990. One of my favorite movies and favorite roles, Glengarry Glen Ross in 1992. And another one of my favorite movies that came out this same year, 1997's Gattaca. Just such a deadpan, like nice grandfather face and demeanor, right? Like even when he was younger, he just always had that, just one of those voices that even if you can't picture Alan Arkin in your head right now, you can hear his voice, I'm sure. And father of Adam Arkin from a lot of things. TV show called Chicago Hope. No, Chicago Hope. It was ER's competitor. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, but he was in a lot of things. But so at this point in time, Alan Arkin was already well established. He went on to win an Oscar in 2007 for Little Miss Sunshine, after being nominated twice in the 60s. And yeah, he kind of like, he's another one kind of like Cusack, where he had been well established, kind of went away for a little while, came back with this film, and then had like another little resurgence in his career, with Gattaca, Jacob the Liar, Little Miss Sunshine, Marley and Me, and Argo.
Yeah, love Argo. Argo, fuck yourself.
Argo's fantastic. Go ahead, tell us about...
Yeah, so fun.
Was there a Ghostbuster in this movie? I believe there was.
Could have been a Ghostbuster in this movie. I think... Oh, yeah, let me tell you about Dan Aykroyd. Obviously an SNL staple from 75 to 79. Blues Brothers in 1980, one of my all-time favorite comedies. Trading Places in 83, Ghostbusters in 84, Spies Like Us in 85, The Great Outdoors in 88, Sneakers in 92. God, I love Sneakers so much. We're definitely going to rewind Sneakers. That's such a phenomenal film.
Nice.
I
haven't seen Sneakers in forever.
Oh, well, then that's going to be a fun one for us to get back into. But I mean,
yeah,
he had hit after hit after hit in the 80s and 90s and just early 90s, really. And you know, at this point in his career, I think he's probably past his prime a little bit. A known commodity. You kind of know what you're going to get. After this film, he did Ants, film with David Duchovny, Evolution, sci-fi film. But just such a great actor, such a wonderful sort of another one of those deadpan, you know, can say it. I think of all his one-liners in Great Outdoors, you know, and how fantastic he was playing that sort of yuppie type character with his family and things like that. So such a great actor, so fun to watch, great in this role. tell us about, well, wait a second. Do we have any relatives of John Cusack's that were acting in this film as well? Huh.
Well, you can't have John Cusack without Joan Cusack. Well, you can, but why? Why would you? So yes,
Why would you want to?
John Cusack's sister Joan was in this film playing his secretary, and they never appear on screen. All of her scenes are done in one location. You get the impression that they probably shot everything with her like in a single day. I didn't look it up, but I bet they did. I bet they shot everything with her just in a single day. She's on the phone with him, but it's so good. Like they have this like really, really great client secretary relationship that is just hilarious. And she is so funny. Prior to this film, she was in Working Girl in 1988, Say Anything in 89, My Blue Heaven in 1990, and Toys in 1992. Did you see Toys?
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah.
Robin Williams.
You like it?
Weird,
Okay.
weird film. I liked it. Strange, different, but I like Strange and Different.
Literally
So,
a
what about
movie
you?
that I rented once in 1992 from the new release wall at Photographics and like did not like, made me feel weird, and have not ever gone back and watched again. But like I wonder about it sometimes. I'm like, I've changed a lot over the years, and I wonder if
Yeah.
Toys is a different film than probably did not give it a good enough shake at 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I hear
you know, at this point in Joan Cusack's career, though, she had worked in a lot of her brother's projects. After this, she went on to star in a film called In and Out, a film called Arlington Road, which is one of my favorite thrillers of that
Ooh,
period
okay.
in time. Are you familiar with that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's-
I love Arlington
Tim
Road.
Robbins is in that?
Yeah. Yeah, and she was like very straight laced performance in that one, not comedic at all. Runaway Bride, Toy Story 2. Who was she in Toy Story 2?
I don't even know, but I know. I think that she was in 3, 4, and maybe she's going to be in 5, or if that's come out already.
5 is out. Yeah, somebody look that up and let us know in the comments, because we're too lazy to do that right now, and we were too lazy to do it before it. But she was also in High Fidelity and The Great School of Rock. Let's go ahead, though, Scotty, and get into the background.
All right, so there's kind of a good amount of information here, so I'll try to go through it fast. But the final draft, written by all the people that we mentioned previously, really came from an idea from the scriptwriter. I'll just call him Tom because his last name looks like every consonant you could possibly imagine. But he wrote sort of a draft for this. Jankowitz. Say that 10 times fast.
Taking a stab.
He had written the script for this and based it on he was a substitute teacher at a school in Upland High School, and there's an urban legend that this was written because this happened to someone. So there's a caveat there. Like there's some rumor, we all have them, someone that you went to high school with disappeared. You really like never saw them again. I can name a bunch of people like that. And, did they join the CIA? Are they, what in the hell happened to them? And so this film came from that idea. The director, George Armitage, later said that he did as much writing of the film as anyone else, but he never saw writing credits. He added that when John Cusack originally gave him the script, it was 132 pages. He said, look, I'm not doing anything over 100 pages. They said, fine, no big deal. We'll rework it. They reworked it, brought it back. It was 150 pages. So he said, okay, you guys are fired. And then he spent most of pre-production rewriting it, got it down to 102 pages. And when they started filming, he realized that regardless of what he had drilled down from a writing perspective, they were improvising all those scenes back into the film anyway, and they were kept. So it was kind of a lesson that he learned. In 1997, Cusack said he would have liked to film on location in Point Blank, but they weren't able to do so because of budget constraints. The scene where Marty is attacked in the halls of the high school was actually filmed in Reseda High School. I assume Reseda is like LA County area. Armitage later recalled with Grosse Pointe Blank, he essentially said that he shot 3 films. They shot the script as it was written, a mildly understated version, and then shot a completely over-the-top version, which they used most of that, actually. He said, we cast that movie, and I've cast most movies by having the actors come in and read, then throwing the script out and saying, okay, let's improv. That's what I was comfortable with. You're creating the character. So it was really, I think, came across as like a joint effort, a real collaboration, which I think you get some of your best results. Now, I think that you get good results both ways. Let's just say that. What do you think?
I was going to say, I mean, you can kind of feel it. Like you can, especially I'm thinking just a lot of the scenes at the reunion itself, a lot of these like moments that are pretty iconic, I feel like were improvised in the moment. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if like a lot of the interplay between him and Dan Aykroyd was also off the cuff. I think it worked. I think you come out with a really
Good product.
Good product here. Yeah.
Yeah. Of the ending of the film, we're not here to spoil things, but Armitage said, and this isn't really a spoiler type film. Armitage said, I'm usually rather rough on studio heads in terms of creative help, but after seeing audiences so angry at Alec Baldwin dying in Miami Blues, he decided that on Grosse Pointe Blank, dealing with another sociopath, Cusack's character, he wanted him to survive. And so they shot a few different endings in order to, show the studio, what they could do.
This is not the type of movie where the main character dies. And it really would have been a whole different type of movie had the main character died. So I think they went with the right choice.
Yeah, I don't think we're talking about this if it's kind of like that type of a moody ending, which is fine, but it felt like there was resolutions made. So, in doing so, then killing him off, I don't know that I just don't feel like that would work. But that's just my take. What do you think about some of the standout scenes? You can take this one if you'd like first.
Yeah, I think that my favorite part of this film is the high school reunion itself. Like I mentioned, just like the little conversations. I wish I knew the name of the actor. Who's the actor who plays like the bully? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, that I do know who you're talking about. That is, shoot, that's gonna kill me. And he was so good in it too, wasn't he? I will tell you.
There's like this scene where
he was in Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
He was in Walking Dead. God, he was in a lot of stuff.
And he like wants to fight. He comes up to what's his name?
Michael Cudlitz.
Yes, Michael Cudlitz. So Michael Cudlitz like is all threatening to John Cusack and like wants to fight him, and Cusack's just basically like, "Hey man, like, what are you doing? There is nothing between us. There never was. What's really going on here?" And he takes this piece of paper out of his jacket, and Cusack's like, "What is that?" And he goes, "My words." and he's like, "What is that, a poem?" And so Cudlitz starts like reading this poem to him, and he reads the first line, and Cusack's like, "Oh, that's really good. Let's skip to the end." And he just skips, and he goes down, and he goes,
"Yeah,
for a while." For a while. Just the way that he says that, it's so good. And then right after that, Cudlitz is like, "Hey man, you want to go do some blow?" And he's like, "No, I don't." Just the way that they talk to each other there, like, it's such a good scene. It's my favorite scene in the movie. It always has been. How about you though? What's your favorite moment?
I might have to agree with you on that. I like that one. I kind of agree with you on that. That's probably the standout scene. That was also improvised 100%. Cusack. I think that the bully Michael, the actor, was a little taken back by that. But man, like, how quick do you need to be to sort of keep up with John Cusack on that? So that was pretty phenomenal. I will say that there's a scene where John Cusack gets attacked in the hallways by his locker by one of these kind of rough guys that's trying to take him out. And what I loved about that scene was that apparently was John Cusack's kickboxing instructor. So I just think that that's just a cool,
the little dude, that
little
guy
thing there. And apparently, yeah, it kind of looks, I don't know what he kind of looks like, but he's got a funny look about him. But
he's just like short and stout. Yeah. Nice.
Listen, we're not going to start judging the short and stout. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to
I'm judging him favorably. Yeah.
Good. Oh, thank God. Oh, phew. I got nervous for a second.
All right. I get excited when I see one of us being a tough guy. Yeah. Short, tough guys are they're not our people because we're not tough guys, but they're, we want to be. So
I want to be a tough guy. I'm dying to be a tough guy one day.
I know.
All right. Let's jump into the 5 film facts and let's see if there's anything interesting on here. What do you got?
Yeah, so Tom Jankowic based the screenplay on his hometown in Michigan and an urban legend that a classmate had become a professional hitman, which I know you mentioned earlier, but certainly is worth repeating. Do you think there's a such thing as a professional hitman? Like, did you see that movie with what's his name on Netflix where like he pretended to be a hitman for the police? What's the name of that movie?
Oh, I didn't see that. That's with Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell. It's so good. And the whole movie is about how there's no such thing as hitmen. And like, it's always the police basically trying to set you up. I don't know. I'm sure that there's.
So where do you land on this? Do you think that there is? I don't think that there's like a Dan Aykroyd, John Wick style sort of organization. But I don't know. If I wanted to have someone killed, I think I can make it happen.
You think so?
Well, yes, I know some angry people.
For sure. Like, yes, but I think it's gonna be a shit show, and that you're gonna go to jail. Like, I think that there's always somebody willing to do anything for money out there.
Right.
But I think that it's not going to go well. I don't think that there's really like a ton of super trained former CIA operatives. But I don't know. I mean, I think the closest to that in real life that you get is like Blackwater and for-profit military organizations and things like that.
Probably right.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'm so vanilla. So second fact, as Martin pulls up to the Ultimart for the first time, Guns N' Roses rendition of Live and Let Die is playing. And it's Guns N' Roses, and you can tell that it's Guns N' Roses, and it's Live and Let Die, and you can tell that it's Live and Let Die. And when he walks in, what's really cool is the director married the Guns N' Roses version of the song with like a Muzak, like elevator version of the song as he enters the Ultimart. And it's just so subtle, but just those little details are the things that I really love. And that transition point of him, in bewilderment that this was his childhood home, and sort of the aggressive nature of Guns N' Roses, maybe the song a little bit, and then it sort of like flows into this calming version of it, like you're sitting in an elevator waiting to get to the 10th floor or whatever. I just thought that was a really cool way to do that, because it could have transitioned to any other song, but it flowed.
It is really cool, and it makes you sitting there and it makes you sitting there in the audience stop and like try to think if that's what's real. Like you're like, is this the same song? Yeah. It is. Yeah,
totally. So I love those tiny little details that directors put into films. So kudos for the director for that one. What do you got next?
So in one version of the scene where Martin walks into Debbie's radio booth for the first time, Minnie Driver decided to let her character put all the cards on the table and just kiss John Cusack. The director said that it was just wonderfully, completely out of the blue, and that you should have seen the smile on Johnny's face afterwards. So is that the scene that they went with though?
Yeah, that's the scene that they went with, and you're watching, and she sort of shocks him, and he's kind of like, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay."
because that smile on his face afterwards, like it's a really good moment. It's a really good moment.
Right.
That's really cute.
It is a cool moment. So I had fourth fact. I had mentioned this before, but the goon stalking Martin Blank, John Cusack's character, is portrayed by Benny the Jet, however you pronounce his last name, Urquidez. We're gonna call him the Jet. He's a world-renowned kickboxer, like I had said, and he's also John Cusack's kickboxing instructor. So I found that really cool that they.
And finally, according to John Cusack, the 2008 film War Inc. is an informal sequel to this film. Both films are similar in style and theme. Both star John as an assassin and his sister Joan as his assistant, with Dan Aykroyd in a supporting role. I never saw War Inc., but I'm curious now.
I never did too. It's been on my list, and honestly, I'm a little nervous to see it. I know. I sort of feel like in situations like this, like when you get like I don't know how the film is. I don't want anything for me to ruin Grosse Pointe Blank, so I haven't watched it. It's been on my list. I'll probably watch it someday, but I haven't gotten into it yet.
Well, it's an unofficial. I mean, it's not a real sequel.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's not real.
Nothing's going to ruin Grosse Pointe Blank. Yeah.
Rewindable scale. What do you think?
You go first.
All right, I'm going to say 8.1. I love this film. I truly think that this is just an absolute amazing film. I think that they did a fantastic job. I really don't have any notes. You've got a young Hank Azaria in it. You've got Jenna Elfman, who plays one of the high school goers. It's her first role in the film. You've got, Minnie Driver, John Cusack. And I'll say this about John Cusack, in part, she makes the film. She's sort of that calm behind the scenes, but she's so expressive in her face. I always felt like, and maybe this is just me, but I always felt like she would have been phenomenal on a show like Reno 911 or something like that, because she's so deadpan, she's so straight-faced, but she's so charismatic. She's got so much detail in her face. She's so expressive. I always thought that she would be really good in that type of role, but I give it an 8.1. It's a film that I will continue to rewind over the years and continue to enjoy. And the soundtrack really, all those things, soundtrack phenomenal. So it's a great film. What do you think?
Nice. If you're going to go 8.1, I was sitting at around an 8.1, but I'm just going to go ahead and just be just a little bit more generous and give it an 8.2. Just to be you. Just to be you. That's the only reason. Literally the only reason. But no, it's a solid like 8 something either way. Just great for what it is. It's not Hollywood perfection. Like, it's not a 10 or a 9. Those numbers are reserved for other types of things, I think. But like, man, it's a movie that you can just watch over and over and over again. And so, this whole show that we're doing is about recommending films to people. And we kind of wanted to add a little section where we talk about why do we recommend the film? Just in a nutshell. Why would you recommend this film to somebody? You just saw them, you meet them at the store. They're like, hey, what movie should I watch? I don't know what imaginary store you're at where this conversation's happening, but they want to know what movie they should watch. And you say Grosse Pointe Blank because...
I say Grosse Pointe Blank because it's a phenomenal story, start to finish. I feel like it's conclusive. The issues in it that Martin Blank is facing resolve themselves out. There are so many little scenes that I just think are phenomenal. He goes home, he sees his mother who's in a home or institution or something like that. He goes to his dad's grave and pours a bottle of whiskey on it and doesn't say anything. He's in this with his sister. You've got Dan Aykroyd. You've got a phenomenal soundtrack. I just think that this is it's a carefree watch. It's not overly complicated. It's really fun. It's really funny. There's really good action in it, and it's a complete story. So it takes you from point A to point C. And that's why I think anyone would enjoy watching this film. What about you? Why do you think people should should check this film out.
I'm recommending this movie to anybody. If you consider yourself a part of Gen X or like an elder millennial, if you have any kind of fondness for the 80s, for the culture of the 80s, this movie is like a must see. It will absolutely take you back like to a particular time in your life. It nails the vibe and the tone, not just through the music, but through the lingo and the attitude more than anything else. Like, it just has pure Gen X attitude, and it's like hard to even put a finger on exactly what that means. But if you know, you know. Like, if you are of the right age and you see this movie, it just feels authentic. Even though it's about something outlandish, like, it just feels very authentic to the time. So let's get into 5 similar films. We put down 2005's The Matador. Tell us a little bit about that one. That's the one on this list I haven't seen, Scott.
Yeah, The Matador's a great little film. Pierce Brosnan, Greg Kinnear. Pierce Brosnan plays a hitman that meets Greg Kinnear kind of at a bar while he's on a work trip, and Pierce Brosnan's character's doing a hitman type job. And then how they sort of mesh and get entangled and all that kind of stuff. All that ensues, and it's a great movie. It's a really fun watch. Again, not super complicated. They're not trying to rewrite history or anything like that. It's almost like a buddy comedy without being a buddy comedy. It's kind of like a anti-buddy comedy, maybe a little bit, but it's really good film. Definitely worth checking out.
And speaking of buddy comedies, they're kind of anti-buddy comedies. The Nice Guy in 2016. Shane Black classic that is not classic enough. We were talking before we started recording about how more people need to see The Nice Guys. I'm not even going to say anything about it other than it's a Shane Black film, and it stars Ryan Gosling and help me out. Who's the other guy? Russell Crowe. I think I lost you there for a second, but I believe that was a Russell Crowe. Yeah. Nice Guys 2016. Check it out. It's okay. No, we also got 7 Psychopaths from 2012, The Whole 9 Yards from 2000, and Lucky Number 11 from 2006. All good movies for very different reasons, but all absolutely worth checking out. Where is this one available? Nowhere for free, but you can find it for a little bit of money on Apple TV and Prime Video. It's available to purchase and rent. And what are we doing next time?
Next time, man, I'm excited. Next time, we're going to do our first 4 for Friday pod. And in the future, we'll probably do something. Well, this will be maybe crowd recommended or Patreon recommended or fan recommended. We're basically going to do the same thing that we do on social media sites, which is our 4 for Friday of the last Friday of every month. We're going to pick a category or pick an actor or pick a director or pick some genre or something, and we're going to grab 4 films. So for this one coming up, it's going to be Westerns. We've really not talked about Westerns much. So Jason and I are going to dive into 4 for Friday Westerns on our next episode.
Yeah, so Scotty's going to pick 4. I'm going to pick 4. We're going to talk about 8 movies. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be awesome. If you are with us on social media already, you know exactly what we are talking about. Speaking of social media, find us at Facebook, Friday Night Rewind, on Instagram, YouTube, and Threads. Even though don't go to Threads. We have Threads. Go to Threads and start a conversation. And Threads is dead. Find us though on YouTube and Instagram and wherever else at Friday Night Rewind Pod, POD. Other than that, that's all we've got for this week, and we will see you next time.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.